Hello and welcome. This is the Simpit. I'm your host Devin Booth, and today we're here to talk about Drift 21. Developed by ECC Games and formally announced as Drift 19, the project that is Drift 21 has had me on edge since its announcement just a few years ago. Plagued by delays, the release for Drift 21 came about just before the holiday season of 2020 and honestly faced a lot of criticism. I personally couldn't get any of my equipment working on day one, and after weeks of trying with some of my older Thrustmaster equipment, was forced to shelve the title. That said, ECC Games has continued their work, and now, a little over a year later, it's time to hit the garage and roast some tires, because this title right here, this is the grassroots drifting experience that you didn't know you needed. As mentioned already, my initial experience was terrible, but don't let that turn you away. 505 and ECC Games have kept the pressure on, and the team has not let us down. My second go-around was the polar opposite experience. All of my controls mapped, the dead zones and saturation settings all worked as expected, and they have a most helpful pop-up link when you go to the wheel settings page that helps you out with the force feedback. That last bit being something that I'd like to see every sim doing in the future. It's simply a link to the Steam forums where they've set up a configuration guide and thread, but this goes a long way toward lowering the bar for entry for new simmers and is something that I hope other sim developers have noted. Now, before we jump into some gameplay, I'll give you a quick look at the menus and options. They're your standard affair, clean and easy to navigate with their own little quirks like each little title has. Perfectly acceptable as far as I'm concerned. And for game modes, you're given career and sandbox modes, as well as quick race and multiplayer options. I'll be honest that I didn't do any of the multiplayer and don't really have plans to at this time. But as the game develops, we may come back and give it a go. So for the purpose of this review, I'll be sticking to single-player content, which certainly doesn't disappoint. Start off in your garage, open the radial menu, and take a look at what the game has to offer. Today we'll be building the newly added Toyota AE86, the reason why this video has taken so long, and the car that I'd been waiting for. We begin with a basic shell, drift tuning, and adding our first Slidey Boy components. With all the essential fancy shift knob and handbrake stuff installed, we can then find a motor for our little tofu delivery boy. You can throw in a boxer motor, a chunky V8, or smooth inline 6. Even the Dorito is represented in the form of the 3 or 5 rotor engine. But of course, we're going with the trusty inline 4, and we're going to completely dismantle it. From the block up, forged internals and performance add-ons assembled, providing the platform needed for the largest of spoolie boys, the Big Turbo. With the new engine ready, we head over to the hoist. An upgraded pressure plate, clutch, and flywheel allow us to hook up our transmission, a performance driveshaft and exhaust, subframes, brakes, cooling, and suspension components are installed, and we're presented with the Drift 21 equivalent of Takumi Fujiwara's iconic Tofu Drift Delivery Car. And with that, I'm going to stop talking for a moment to give you a lap around Ebisu's Togue complex. This is Drift 21. Now, I'm far from great at drifting. It's something that I enjoy doing, but that I don't even consider competing in. That said, this title felt intuitive. Braking to lower the front end and gain rotation, handbraking for extension, clutch kicks and scanny flicks, everything worked just as you'd expect. The sound and graphics are both great, with I think only 4 small hitches over the last few months with the title. It does have a bit of a gamer kind of aesthetic, and the sounds could hit a little harder, but overall I'm rather pleased with how it came together. Each change to the car also changes the sound. Different engines have their own notes, and the tracks do a good job of representing their real-world counterparts. Keeping in mind that this is still a very much so work-in-progress title, I think I can strongly recommend it to any fan of track day drifting. There's still some work to be done with the crash physics and damage, and I'd like to see some progression with the online situation to make it more accessible and enticing, but in its current state, it's great for any drifting fan, or even those that are just wanting to dabble. It gives a great foundation of understanding when it comes to the basic modifications needed to build a performance car, and helps you understand car placement and rotation with its use of clipping zones. That said, if you're a fan of Togue, you're likely to feel left out. I personally will be shelving the title for a while, but remaining active around their social media sites in order to watch for updates. There are a good number of older cars that I'd love to see represented, and with only the Ebisu Togue complex and Minami for me personally to run, I'll be watching to see if they add some Japanese mountain locations or even hill climbs from other parts of the world before getting back into it. They've got a great selection of tracks to start off, but that's just not what I'm looking for in my daily drift sim. So, to wrap up, Drift 21 delivers the best backyard mechanic drift simulation available. It's a lot of fun, and I hope to see a continuous evolution for the team to succeed enough to warrant another title. Either way, I'll be happy. If you're a fan of track day drifting or parking lot drifting, you should definitely grab it, and even if Togue is your sole thing, I'd still throw it on your wish list for the next time it's on sale. It'd be worth your time to at least check out. And that's all from me. If you found this review helpful, or not, leave a comment down below so that I can improve, and don't forget to check out the Simpit patron at www.patreon.com/thesimpit. I'm Devin Booth, this is the Simpit. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the track.
Huh?